I will start, by just saying that the year 2021 is the European Year of Railways, and who better to discuss this topic than the director of Slovenian public railway company, Slovenian Railways, Ms. Darja KOCJAN. So, Ms. KOCJAN, in your presentation, we could see that Slovenian Railways are focusing on modernization and digitalization of your trains. And according to your opinion, how this will attract more passengers?
Hello to everybody. First of all, quality of service, level of service is the most important for travel experience. Whatever you travel, like in tourist or as mobility on a daily basis. So quality of the service is crucial, that you perhaps switch from car to train. With new fleet of 52 trains, we will cover basic needs for modernization, and we do believe that this extra comfort, Wi-Fi, easy entrance, spaces for bicycles, everything will attract new passenger. Of course, we will add at our offer better timetable, new trains, new connections, also to the near countries, to Austria and Croatia. And we do believe that the better offer is an answer how to attract a new passenger. This modernization is, of course, followed by new things in digitalization. We all know that information is crucial. And we do believe that better information system, better ticketing system will also attract a new passenger, and we will all move in more green future of mobility. So I do believe that this will be a big step forward for Slovenian mobility.
Yes, and railways are the backbone, the true backbone of European transportation networks. And of course, we would like to move. They are also one of the best sustainable mobility options. But of course, once we reach, the city centers, the downtown, we need to work on other multimodal options.
Yeah.
So Shirly, today we see users that they have many options to move around the city. So what do you think is their main pain point, and how it can be solved, and what are the innovations that can be brought to the city? So how can we make this seamless and user-friendly, affordable, accessible mobility for all in cities?
Sure. So yes, as you know, there are many different solutions, but the problem is that today these solutions don't address fully all of the user's needs. Okay, they have many different needs, from going short distances, 1 mile, 2 miles, or for going 300 kilometers with a train, that the train can address to that. And actually today users have, as we saw in the survey from Spain, that 80% of users are complaining about the fact to have so many apps to look at when they're going from one place to another, and they want just a simple solution to combine all of it. And multimodality is really the answer, to provide them a way to go from point A to B, where they have everything in one single app, with one single bidding, with a very simple pricing. And this is exactly what GoTo offers, and it's coming at the right time, at the right place, where adoption of mobility options and shared mobility are already there. But now it's the time to simplify it, to bring it all together, and to integrate also public transportation into it. So when you come with a train and you arrive into a city, you need last mile solutions. And sometimes you want a car because you're with a big suitcase and your kids, and sometimes you just want to get home fast and you want a moped or a kick scooter. So this integration between the trains and the shared mobility, which is also electric, makes it all much more greener and a better holistic solution for the user.
Yes, and why this is important is we are facing rapid urbanization. And let me just give you a couple of facts. Back in 1950s, I don't know if you know it, but only 740 million people lived in cities. And 70 years later, today 4 billion. And predictions are that by 2050, 6.9 billion of people will live in the city. So obviously, cities are getting more and more crowded, but also, you know, extending the infrastructure like highways, railways, and you know, city should invest and should do it, but it's also, you know, difficult because of land acquisition, all permissions, constructions, and so on. So we need to have a balance between improving the infrastructure and modernizing the fleets, but also combining with other options and creating mobility as a service for all. So, Ms. KOCJAN, so what is the role of traditional railway company, incumbent, somebody who is here for more than 100 years in building this completely new startup-like mobility ecosystem? So what are your plans for, I don't know, next years? So how to create this sustainable ecosystem?
Yes, we have to create like an ecosystem of mobility in general. We do see our railway stations as multimodal points where can we connect different modality, different way of transport. And we, as you saw in the presentation, we already invest our effort to be a backbone of this common story of mobility. We do believe that first and last mile is important to make a decision to use public transport. Without this quality service, the limitation of range, what can train do is limited. You know, parking space are important, but if it's possible to attract people without using cars wherever it is possible, this is also crucial, because the change of a way as we look at to the mobility is really important. In Slovenia, for example, we do have really a lot of cars, and I do believe that a family with one car is a future in Slovenia. That will, but that can be done only with excellent public service, with different mobility options. And we do see our railway stations as a point of multimodalities where we can, with better harmonized timetables between buses and trains, with additional service of rental, micro-mobility transport services, with one ticket for all service, with predictability, and with a better approach in mind that we have to think about passenger. We do not have to think only about about service with train. We have to think about whole package, and this I do think is our task for the future.
Yes, and I'm a big fan of, you know, Slovenian railways, and I will tell you why. Because I'm also working for the incumbents in the past, and to move quickly, of course, there are always challenges, always there are roadblocks. But just think, you know, that railways are now partnering with automotive sector, with car sharing companies, with bike sharing companies. For example, in Ljubljana, we have first hour of bike sharing for free.
Yeah.
And it's high utilization. So beside your private bike that you can safely store at all railway stations, we also have the bike sharing scheme with 1 hour for free. And in 1 hour in Ljubljana, you can reach every point. Second thing that I would like to mention is really this integrated ticket that we have in Slovenia in partnership with Slovenian Ministry of Infrastructure. It was created and co-financed. And that means that with one ticket, you can go on railway and buses, and you can have these seamless activities. So the point is that change is the way to go. But now we are going back to Shirly and cities. And I will, again, you know, I like that statistics that in 1950, there were only 2 megacities. And this was Tokyo and New York. And today there are more than 20 megacities. So megacity is considered a city with more than 10 million population. And they are growing very, very fast. Shirley, your company is very successful in entering new markets. So how you select those new markets, new cities?
Sure. So actually, we built a complete model to assess the different markets. We call it the dicer, where we dice the most important, the highest and biggest density population cities. Our focus right now is on Europe, okay? So still not mega city in Europe, but then we'll go to the New Yorks and all. And basically, we look at different cities. We look at over 70 parameters when we analyze cities. We look at mobility patterns. This is something very important. So how much people walk, how much people bike, how much they use buses and trains, because we aim to go only at urban city centers where you have a lot of users using this alternative public transportation. And then the chance that they will use shared mobility is much higher because they're not using their own private car, because they have many alternative ways to move. So what we're always looking for is to give you the confidence not to need to own a car, so that you can move via GoTo multimodal services or via a train or a bus or a metro within those cities. So this is a very important criteria. Of course, regulation is a key issue, okay, to enter in the city, and the density and the population. And then you were mentioning infrastructure. So we don't believe that you need to build more highways, okay? We think that you need to create more bus lanes, shared mobility lanes, and bike lanes, you know. And the whole COVID situation actually was great for that, because a lot of the cities started converting car lanes into more shared mobility lanes, and you have more and more people using bikes, and you know, bike sale is like crazy, and you know, even for shared mobility to buy bikes is like very, very difficult. Kick scooters and all of that, all of the alternative mobility modes actually benefited from COVID, because you're not actually traveling with other people, and you're moving around the city in a smooth way that does not generate traffic. So basically, we look at cities where you have very good mobility, okay, and alternative mobility and public mobility, where it's densely populated, where regulation is great, and where you have bike lanes and EV charging stations available.
I also have, Shirley, for you a question from our audience, from Erin, and she, you know, because you have the visibility across Europe, according to your opinion, what are the coolest mobility as a service kind of business model you have seen? Is it, you know, first hour for free, like we have bike sharing in Slovenia? How to, you know, increase utilization and popularity? And
it's a very good question. And I think at the end of the day, I think Darja was saying it, we need to focus on the user, okay? And what are the user's needs and how we can answer those needs. So at the end of the day, the companies that will win are the ones that are giving the best service, okay? Whether it is in terms of quality, that the vehicles are clean, etc. Whether it is in terms of availability, which at the end of the day is the key factor, having the available asset next to me when I need it. So when I get off the train, I see a lot of GoTo bikes and GoTo mopeds, so I can take them into the city. And also that simplicity, okay? The fact that the app and everything is working perfectly. So you get there and you have everything in one single app. You have one simple pricing. In our case, it's €3, 15 minutes, any wheel that you want. We believe that all wheels are created equal. So we want to give you for €3, 15 minutes on any of those vehicles. So we are always aiming at simplicity, because the world is already complicated. We have too many choices to make every day. So we want to give you the best solution for you, the simplest one. And with that €3, 15 minutes, it's really that simplicity. And in addition, we have loyalty plans. So we have something innovative. I haven't seen any other company do it. Not the €3, 15 minutes, and not punch cards, you know, like Starbucks. You take a ride, and the 10th ride is free. Okay, so we're working more and more toward the subscription models.
Yeah, and subscription is something way to go. We see it from telecommunication. So back in 90s, we were buying these huge mobile phones, you know, for, I don't know, 10,000 plus euros. And back at that time, there were other currencies and so on. And now we have subscription-based, €1 mobility plan, go. And also we see the growth of in different areas of subscriptions. And I believe this will be really a way to continue. We are also getting comments from our audience, and they are maybe not so much questions like their observation. And yesterday we had a presentation from Florian Leonard, who is the urban director from NEOM. And NEOM is a greenfield. They have the line, 170 miles long the development project. And you can start from the beginning to develop, the whole master plan, related to real estate, infrastructure can be done, from the scratch. Now, Europe is facing existing legacy infrastructure. And simply, we need to manage resources better. And the comment was, between Ljubljana and Maribor is 130 kilometers. And obviously, we always have the question, why cannot rail go just direct, So it's always great when you do a development in areas where this is possible, due to ownership of the land, configuration of the land, and so on. Yes, we are improving the existing one. There is always room for improvement. And yes, everybody understands that, and we would be more than happy, to start 200, 300 years ago and do it differently, but this is not possible. And also, yes, another comment is modernization of the train is great, but all incumbents are also improving the other things, and IT is a pain point, not only in mobility space, but other industries, because we need to connect the data. We need to open APIs, we need to agree, we need to protect, we need to secure, and these are ongoing. So the way Slovenia is tackling that, and this is the comment to Mr. Orban, is basically we are introducing the integrated public ticket, and this cannot happen overnight. All system, all stakeholders need to work together so that every IT infrastructure at railways, bus, different mobility operators can be interoperability can happen, and exchange and secure and safe exchange and reliable and high availability exchange of data. So it's a lot of things, and the teams are working. So we can continue basically with the question. So Ms. Darja, what are your plans, next steps, to build more? So now we have trains, we are working on integrated. So what can we expect will happen in next years?
We do have a lot of additional projects. The key point is digitalization, better information system, new selling points for the ticketing, of course, together with ministry, and the ministry is in charge on this field, integrated tickets with more providers. I do think that better, simplest ticketing system with attractive prices will attract new passenger on public service experience, and then perhaps it will be easier decision to live without so many cars. Slovenia is really specific in this field. We do not have mega cities. We are spread all over our beautiful country, and we have a habit to have a lot of cars, and I really hope that generations of our children will be different in this field, and we all have to do something in this direction. Slovenske železnice passenger transport will try the best to be in charge of this new story.
Yes, and it's always great to hear that the leadership understand that. Now we just need patience, and results will also come. And yes, Slovenia has one of the highest, basically per capita ownership of a vehicle, and could be that this is a consequence of previous times. when the ownership was one of the lowest, and then after the transition, from one regime to another, basically it just went up. But basically, it's always interesting to talk about the government. So Shirley, now you highlighted how to work with cities and how you select the markets, but how do you work with the governments?
Sure. So we work very, very closely with the governments. We always maintain close contact before we go into the cities. We create contacts with them. We meet with them. Governments really like to work with us and our type of models because we are multimodal, meaning that instead of them needing to talk to so many mobility actors in the field, they can talk to one actor and they get a lot of services together. So they get from the mopeds to the kick scooters to the cars, they get all in one. So it really saves them in terms of time to talk with so many different actors. The other thing is that when we go into a city, unlike many micro-mobility companies, we actually hire a team. So every city that we go into, we have about 40, 50 people on the ground. So we have operations people, we have call center, and obviously we have the country manager, marketing and operations director. And actually those people are working 24/7. The team is really, really dedicated. And whenever there is something that maybe there is a kick scooter in front of a hospital, they can call us and we can basically send someone to take the kick scooter and move it away within 2 hours. So we are very, very reactive to the government. In addition, the fact that we have our technology in-house makes it that we can actually, if laws change and we need to change the geofence of where you can park your micro-mobility, is something that we can develop very, very fast and adapt to the government's needs. So it's really good to work with them, and they really like to work with us. And that's also what made us win tenders in different cities inside of Israel and also outside of Israel. Because we bring that operational team, so we hire people and 24/7, but also the fact that we have our own technology. So our own technology makes it happen that we can adapt, and this is how we win the tenders. I wanted to comment something about what you said before about the Slovenian railways, about the Slovenian car usage. Actually, when I was researching how much people in the European Union spend on transportation, so it's 13% on average, right? But in Slovenia, it's 16%. It's actually the highest European Union city country that spends on transportation. So it goes with what you're saying of the highest car ownership.
Yeah, we like cars. It is a status symbol, and we spend a lot of money for that. Yeah. But I like what you were saying, about thinking global and acting local. This is usually with mobility as a service. It's something that it's crucial, to win also public acceptance. Because sometimes, people think that they can be just over the top, providers, just coming and without on-field, basically in-country resources, and this is what we see. So it's always so, Ms. Darja, you also partner with some players. Could you a little bit highlight who are those companies, or we cannot name them, but maybe just type of the mobility offering. So how the ecosystem is growing.
We are thinking about micromobility, but we're also thinking about package offers. So our partners can be local communities or some touristic entities or providers of micromobility service. All those partners can be connect with us through agreement, and the service can be sold by our ticketing system. So we are already starting a few interesting new projects, and when they will be ready, they will be present to our passengers and to everybody in Slovenia, and hopefully we will have a good experience with this cooperation.
Yeah. We also like these bundles. My colleague went a few weekends ago, for one ticket one day and experience many drives. So this is also how we can plan, a weekend getaway, by train. So basically, with that, we are concluding this roundtable. I would really like to thank our dear panelists, Ms. Darja KOCJAN and Ms. Shirly KALUSH, and to all participants for your comments, for your questions. It was really nice to hear how mobility as a service is a disruption and it's an opportunity. And we will feel it more and more. And we encourage all to basically experience it by yourself and contribute to sustainable mobility, less congestions, lower, bringing this zero accident society to reality, and that our cities, environments, planet will be more healthier. So with that, I would like to thank you all, and I will give back the word to Petra.
Thank you.
Thank you.